my name is Giovanna. People know me as Gio, my nickname. I work as an artist in Brazil for more than 20 years, and I'm here in the Stripdagen Haarlem for the release of our book, The Sirenen of Haarlem.
Well, my name is Felipe. I'm a comic book writer stemming from Brazil as well, although I currently live in Belgium. And I'm here in Haarlem as well to release our new book, right, Haarlem Sirens, which came out in Brazil about a year and a half ago, and it's coming out in the Netherlands and specifically in Haarlem. So we're really excited to be here and to be participating in this wonderful event and inside this place of all places that's so meaningful to the context of our story, right?
Sorry, that was me hitting the camera. I gotta say, I really don't know where to start, but how did you get to work together?
So actually it started off a little silly. Basically about 6 years ago, I was doom scrolling on my cell phone, as you will, and I came across this article which read something like. Do you know the story of the 3 young Dutch women who fought in the resistance during World War II? And I remember reading the article and finding that story just so powerful and so moving. But then again, it's the internet, so you never know just how true what you're reading actually is. So I ended up doing some research, reading plenty of other articles in the process. And by that time, I had decided that I wanted to make a graphic novel or anything out of that story. And then I tried to look for something. I tried to look to see if that story had been told in other forms. So I came across the movie, right? The Girl in the Red Hair. I watched that movie, which is from the 70s. I found a version which was subbed in English. It's a wonderful movie, by the way. But there were no graphic novels based on Hannie Schaft's story, right? And also Trusch and Freddy's story. So at that point, I decided to really tell that story in a graphic novel medium, and that's when I decided to look for the artist who would be responsible for that. And for me, it was really important that the artist would be a woman, because it's the story of 3 very brave Dutch women who fought in the resistance. So I thought that we couldn't do justice if we didn't have a female perspective as well. And that's when I finally came across Giovanna's artwork, which is this beautiful sort of photographic work in watercolors. And I reached out to her, and luckily she said she was available and she enjoyed the story. So do you want to talk about that?
So basically, I received an email from Felipe. We didn't know each other, but he was, I have this story. I would like to know if you want to draw the art for a graphic novel. And I never have heard about it then. I was, let me give you a look, and I find, that's amazing. That's a story really, really, really powerful. They were so brave, and I was, yes, of course, I want to be part of this. I want to draw this story. And it's a story that deserves to be remembered and to be told. So
I was like, okay, we have artists from Brazil doing a story about Haarlem, about Dutch people, about a part of Dutch history. So I was really curious how that happened, but that happened because of doom scrolling.
Yes. Now, just to make it clear, I don't recommend doom scrolling. It happens, and more often than not, I do not run across important things. But at that time, I did run into this story. So I think that. When you run into something that's special and it leaves a mark, I think that it's worth investigating, and I think it's worth going after credible information, because I'm not saying that everything should turn into a story but it's just that you gain knowledge and you're learning about something new. In our case, we made a story out of it, but if we hadn't, it would have been okay, because just by knowing that story, it had already filled me with knowledge and filled me with the sense of these women were fighting for something that was greater than themselves, and they were fighting for what was right, of course. So I just felt that. Yeah, it was just a fascinating story from a human perspective.
Yeah, that's true. I can imagine that on the graphic side, it was a challenge.
Yes.
How did you?
It was a really great challenge. For example, at the time we could not travel to Haarlem to know the places. So we based everything in research. The North Holland archive site, and a lot of pictures, photos from internet, and also got some books about the Dutch residents. But all was made basically on books and online.
Okay.
For example, funny story. There are 2 pages I have to draw because I draw the wrong places. The St. Bavo Cathedral, I started drawing the oldest one, and not the new one where the scene happened. So it was really fun because we are like in the map. There's water, there's a river close, but there's no river close in these photos. I think it's the wrong cathedral. And later we learned, okay, there's 2 cathedrals, and I really was drawing the wrong one. And I started to draw. This page were on the drawing yet, not painted. But there's a scene where the 3 girls will match it for the first time, and it's on a hospital. In this hospital also, I have painted the wrong hospital. Oh, okay, I have to repaint this page.
It is understandable, of course. I mean,
Yes.
yeah. What you mentioned, the story touched you. That's why you wanted to do this. How did the story affect you?
Well, first of all, the story of 3 women. Of course, to me, is more strong because in Brazil we don't know much stories about women in the Second World War. We know, but not so much. And as I said, the story crazy. If you think about them so young, 16 years old, so young, on the streets in a bike with a gun, and going after the soldiers, fighting the soldiers, killing soldiers, and taking part in so many missions, and doing so much. I was like, whoa, what I was doing useful in my 16 years old. Probably laughing at the maximum, reading good books, but probably just listening music, look at the boys, and whoa, these girls were making history. They were fighting the bad guys. It's amazing, it's unbelievable. So
yeah,
it's
I can imagine that. Now, when you go and work about a story, you are in Brazil, you go work on this story, you want to have it published.
Yes.
Is it published in Brazil as well?
yeah.
Okay. That's maybe even more remarkable that a story like this is published in Brazil. Because do the people in Brazil know about Haarlem or?
No, yeah. There's a funny story actually, because the book came out in Brazil at the end of 2024, right? During the Brazilian Comic-Con, right? CCXP. And people didn't know much about that story, right? Neither did we when we started off, right? So that's why we felt it was important to tell this story, because we knew it was important for Haarlem and the Netherlands, but we soon realized that very, very, very few people actually knew about it in Brazil or South America. So that's one of the things that drove us to make this story. So yeah, this is we found it to be really special. But then there's something funny about it that I mentioned, is that this cover is the new cover for the Haarlem edition. The original cover, the cover for the Brazilian edition, is another one here. That's we have to get it. And so as you can see, yeah. And the reason why this is the cover for the Brazilian edition, even though the painting, which is based on the Night Watch, right? So it's a painting from Amsterdam. So you may think, oh, what is a painting from Amsterdam? What does a painting from Amsterdam have to do with Haarlem? So basically, what we were thinking is we need to connect the audience and the book to the Netherlands first, right? And the name Haarlem doesn't ring a bell for many Brazilians. I mean, the first thing they'll think about if they hear the word Haarlem is the neighborhood in New York, actually. But we wanted to make a connection not with the U.S., of course, but with the Netherlands. So through that painting, we felt that we could use some of the symbols that are present there, and the painting is well known, so that when people saw that, they would instantly think, okay, Haarlem, oh, but the Netherlands. They would remember the Dutch painter, and think of the Netherlands. So that was the reasoning behind the original cover. And we got feedback in Brazil. Like, many people would look at the cover and they would go, "Oh, this is the Night Watch, like from a Dutch painter. This is a Dutch painting." So it really worked. And then for the Dutch edition, of course, with following Eric's suggestion, we made something. Giovanna, actually, I have no credit at all over this. So Giovanna actually came up with this wonderful, beautiful cover that's very Haarlem oriented, and it looks stunning.
It's definitely a very beautiful cover. I agree. But the other cover is really beautiful as well. So you mentioned Eric. How did you end up with Uitgeverij Hum then? Because all the way from Brazil here.
Yeah, it's actually it was unexpectedly, right? Because last year I just got a message from our editor in Brazil saying that the rights to the book had been purchased by Hum, right? And but that was about it at the time. And we have to thank our agent Sarah. She was the one who pulled the strings. And then earlier this year, like, I got a message from Eric. I think Sarah connected us, and and he talked about the Haarlem Comic Strip Festival, and since I live in Belgium, I thought, well, I surely want to participate, and then I was like, but Giovanna has to participate as well, right? So I reached out to the Brazilian embassy in The Hague, and they were able to pull it off and bring Giovanna here, which is absolutely essential, right, Giovanna? Do you want to add anything to that?
No. Just adding that the release in the Haarlem in this building was like, whoa, I don't believe it. I don't believe it's unbelievable. Because it really has a lot of meaning for us to be here in this place. The first thing we did today was visiting Hanicel. It's a very strong place, and it's amazing to be here to release the book in Haarlem.
I can imagine that. Is this the first time? Well, maybe not for you, but for you that you are in the Netherlands?
For me, yes. First time in Haarlem, first time in Netherlands.
Okay. Did you have some time to look around and see the sites that,
Not yet, but I will stay here for 1 more week, so I will go tourism mode on Monday.
Okay. And you can see what well.
Yes, of course. I want to visit all these places that are in the book, and people from the Honey Shaft Foundation also suggested me other places related to honey lives and everything. I want to go there, of course.
Nice. Well, I appreciate you taking the time to come here.
Oh, yeah.
And have a chat. It was very lovely. Thank you very much.
Thank you.
Thank you very much.
Hope you enjoyed the book.